12:30. And we would like to induct Gwen Severini as our new member today. So we're going to have Greg and Gwen come up and do that now while you guys can eat. Go ahead. And then we'll start our program again at 12:15.
Come on up, Gwen.
Okay?
Whole 15 minutes for me?
No.
Doesn't take that long. So,
I was gonna have to sing and dance.
well, we'll get out the paddle later.
Okay,
so.
okay. The grease pin.
Okay, good.
All right, folks, let's get this going. So today we welcome to our ranks and to our membership Gwen Severini. Thank you. That was close.
No problem.
So Gwen, by virtue of your membership in this club, you'll be welcomed into the fellowship of any Rotary club worldwide. And there's over 1 million of us, and you can feel free to go to any meeting anywhere in the world, and you'll be accepted just by coming in. As you know, the ideal of Rotary is service. Our principal motto is service above self. And the objective of this club is to encourage and foster this ideal. The honor and privilege of Rotary membership carries with it some obligations. So you're expected to attend as many club meetings as possible, to perform your share of club service, and to put your talents at work in carrying out the principles of Rotary. So it's not just coming off of all of our talents, but as a new member, you'll be bringing talents and experiences to the club that we don't have, and we certainly welcome. So I'll give you your pin.
Okay, thank you.
So this pin should be worn each meeting as an emblem of your membership and your pride in the good works of Rotary. And I share this often. In fact, I was just talking to our speaker today about travel. And we're going to hear about Australia today, but whenever I travel on any of my suit jackets, I always have my Rotary pin. And airports or meetings around the world, people always come up. I can guarantee it. Somebody will ask me about Rotary, and we have conversations with folks. So it's not only a identified emblem, it's a welcome emblem throughout the world. I'll give you our 4-way test, which we recite at the beginning of each meeting. So as mentioned, the objective of Rotary is to encourage and foster service as a basis of worthy enterprise, and in particular to foster the development of friends, high ethical standards, service, and advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace, which is certainly one of the reasons why we have such an active international student activity with this club. Is a big part of it, is to learn from other people around the world, because in a lot of ways we're all the same. So we ask that you judge your daily actions by the 4-way test. We look forward to you enriching the life of the club and its members through your association with Rotary, the world's oldest, largest, and finest service organization. And now, by the power vested in me by the Rotary Club of Louisville and Rotary District 6650, I declare you to be an active member of this Rotary Club. So members, please welcome Gwen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Gwen.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations. Absolutely.
Opportunity to gather together and for all the blessings that you provide. We ask that you would be with all of our members today, whether they're traveling or out ill or for whatever other reason could not make it today. We also ask that you would bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies and bless those that prepared it. For it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Let's do the flag presentation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 4-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you. Please be seated. Do we have any happy dollars today? Glenn, stand with us.
Two granddaughters in Massachusetts that are both volleyball players, 12 and 14, both on national teams. This week, one is playing in Orlando, So is that finishes are flying to Kansas City for another team?
Yes.
I'd like to, for our 50th anniversary in 1975, we got to 50 members, okay? I think I told you this a couple of weeks ago, but there's some Glenville people here. Or, excuse me, Plain Township. Yeah. I'm sorry. Anyway, we got to 50 members, and after the 50th anniversary, we immediately dropped off to about 40 and kept it there for and then we went down to 6 in 2002. That happened. We almost lost our club. Anyway, I think that Randy is very proud of what he's done here as president, because we hit 49 members today, and we got our 100th anniversary coming. This September 25th is our 100th, and we're going to have 50 people because
The police chief, Rachel Carasola, will be number 50.
yeah. Hey. One other thing I'd like to introduce the three members from Plain Township. Randy Lombardi, all right? He's also one of my golf partners last week. John McMaster's another golf partner. And John is from Louisville, and Randy's from Louisville, and yet they're members of Plain Township. And Bob Schaffner, Bob's the ex-president I know of Plain Township. And wow.
Thank you. I actually have a happy book. I beat Jim in golf. I shot an 8 and he shot an 8.
Congratulations.
You're right.
I got another $50. $50. A few months ago, Bill Wood generously gave out pins for the Paul Harris. Well, he's got so many Paul Harris awards, he passed them out. I was going through some of my old pins, found a pin that's got a Canada flag and a US flag. So that's to donate at the Bill. From Canada and live in the
Mr. Dutter.
Okay, I'm gonna walk up here real quick, show off this new piece of rotary equipment
You like that?
owned by the Rotary Club of Louisville. So when we have presenters from now on, they'll be able to use this, and it's got all the stuff going with it. So that was a new addition.
We're gonna use it today?
No.
Great idea.
You want to see the weather.
So my
The other thing I wanted to say is thanks for everyone for your help on Second Friday. The weather didn't hinder anything, believe it or not. The food trucks were there till 10 o'clock with lines. The band came here because of the inclement weather and played upstairs. And the trustee came and told me the next day, he says, we haven't had that kind of a crowd in Eagles for any event since pre-pandemic. So great job. And the farmers market was packed. Unbelievable.
Thank you. Any other happy dollars? Whoops. Rob?
I actually got two. Kind of piggyback off of Jim, the second Friday. The next one is July 11th. It's going to be Overboard the Love Boat Band, which is a huge fan favorite. A lot of people love that. And so we'll have that coming up. And I have some.
If anybody wants a poster or two to promote Overboard, the band for July, I've got 3 of them here. So if you want to put them in a window somewhere or somewhere where people can see it, let me know. They're up here.
The other thing was a huge shout out to we had a huge group of Leopard athletes this week go to the Greater Akron Canton Awards ceremony, a lot. And our basketball team was actually named Team of the Year. We had Coach Siegfried named Coach of the Year, and Braden Gross was named Player of the Year. So shout out to all of our Leopard athletes, and especially long winter.
Cool. Anything else? Jim or Glenn, do you want to introduce our guests? Already did? All right, don't want to introduce them again? All right, just thought I'd ask. All right. Rotoball. Gwen, since you're the newest member,
I played. Why
and you
don't I
played,
play myself? Oh, pick yourself.
then you win. Pick a name. What are your name? Someone taking me a year to master this thing.
Oh, jeez. Wait, I can't find mine. Oh, I didn't put my name on it.
What'd you get?
Somebody's name.
Shorty. Shorty, you are the proud winner of $7. And later on, you will have a chance to win the big pot. There are 14 marbles left in the pot. So your odds are 1 in 14 of winning a little over $200.
Wow.
There you go. Don't spend it all in one place. All right, new business. Our annual business meeting is next Wednesday night. David Yost will be our guest speaker. I have a sign-up sheet here. I'll pass it around quickly if you guys, anybody else wants to sign up. As of this moment, we have 91 people signed up to attend the banquet next Wednesday night. I think that might be the biggest we've had for quite a while.
It is.
Danny, historian, thank you, sir.
You do pay at the door, right?
Yes, you will pay at the door. There will be an open bar from, what do we say, Jim, 5 o'clock to 6:30? 5 o'clock to 6:30, there will be an open bar over there. Cash bar, yes. It's not free. There will be a bar. You will pay, but if you want alcohol, there it is. Yes.
And it is cash, you said, there's not credit card.
Yeah, bring cash. So, any questions on the banquet next Wednesday night? No? Good. Barb or Bill, anything on exchange students that you want to report? So are they all gone now?
No, Yearhack is still here. We don't know for how long. She's originally staying until July 2nd, but with the unrest going on in the world, her dad would like her to come home earlier. Fla is safely back in Belgium, and we still need a host family for Serena.
Anything new on the having Serena come into the United States and all that type of thing?
She's
No?
told me
Still
that
the
she's-
same? Okay, all right. Anything else, Bill? No? Okay. Okay, so the third time is the charm. We are going to attempt to do the trail and Metzger Park cleanup this coming Saturday, June 21st, 9 o'clock. If you've heard this before, I'm sorry. We'll meet at Greg Anderson's house, 1014 Park Village. If you can help, please do so. The weather looks outstanding for a change on a Saturday. So hopefully we'll have a good group sign up to help us. I will pass that around. If you can help, that'd be great. Brochures for the 100-year anniversary banquet are on the table, and I've got more if you need them. Again, it's September 27th, Water's Edge. Sign up to follow. If you can make it, that would be great. Promises to be a pretty exciting event, I think. Stephanie Urchik is going to be our guest speaker, which should be kind of cool, I think, too. Second Friday, Jim talked about it. I was there till the end, and I was amazed. I went up to that Kona shaved ice place, I think 5 times to try to get something, and there was at least 10 or 12 or 15 people in line every time. And about 9:45, I went up there and finally got my shaved ice. And I said to the lady, I said, so how does Second Friday compare to all the other businesses and places you go and things you do? And she looked at me and she said, this was the best night that we've ever had. Friday night was the best they've ever had, the busiest that they've ever had. And like I said, the line was 10, 12, 15 people every time I walked up there from our little tent area. And it's pretty awesome. So, people know about Second Friday. I think the market really really attracted some more people too. And even though the band was here, there was lots of people downtown. So that was kind of cool. Anything else on new business? Anybody? All right. I'd like to introduce Mr. Kevin McCauley. Kevin traveled to Australia, and I'm sure he's going to give us some details on that. So, Kevin, if you want to come on up. Did you get your microphone?
Yeah.
You got your mic? Good.
Yeah, it was almost 50 years ago today. It was June 18th, 1975. And I was 16 years old and was going to Batlow, Australia in the snowy mountains. And the thing that was interesting about that is that's the first time I was ever on an airplane. And that's a long way. You go from Akron, Canton to Chicago, then Chicago to LA, and then LA to Honolulu, and then the Fiji Islands, and then you basically go into Sydney. And you're about 22 hours or something, from LA with all the different things like that. But the town that I was in was a town of 2,000. And in New South Wales, it was basically located between Sydney and Melbourne, but it was in the snowy mountains. A lot of times National Geographic or something has stuff about the snowy mountains. It's really beautiful. It's all kinds of wildlife and everything else. Batlow is a town of 2,000 that was founded in 1800. They had their sesquicentennial the year that I was there, the 175 year. And a lot of the people there came from all kinds of different things. The British, a long time, right around the 1800s, 1800 until like 1840 or whatever, where they found gold in Tumut, which was a town that was not far from there. They would just drop off prisoners and stuff in Sydney and the different places. It was like but these people were just incredible. For a town of 2,000, it was interesting because they had right around the ranch that I was on for the first 7 months that I was there. It's about 1,350 acres. And Bill, his brother, had another 1,350, and it was right near what they called the Snowy Mountain Scheme, which was the Blowering Dam and all this acreage of forestry and stuff like that. And my host brother was a forester, so I had a chance to go and see a lot of that. But the background I had as far as prior to that, my dad was a large animal veterinarian, and I spent a lot of time delivering animals and stuff like that. And then when he got ill, he went to small animal veterinarian, Lake Cape Veterinary Clinic. So when I got over there, basically they produced apples, cattle, sheep, and horses and stuff. And if you knew how to deliver all those things, people didn't have to go 1.5 miles away to the vet. So it became an interesting place to be. It's like putting a 16-year-old kid in everything that where he wanted to be. The schools were excellent. It was amazing. Most of the kids went to like 10th grade, and then they go into a trade. They had the lower and higher high school certificate. And when I got there, I was like in the 11th grade or whatever. And a good friend of mine that I made right when I first went into there, I think he just went in the 11th grade, so that, basically, but most of the guys would go and they would go into the trades or into some of the mining operations and everything else. And the gals would go to the higher high school certificate. So we had, in my junior high school class, there were 2 guys and 17 girls, which, yeah, it made it interesting. But they're very good people. The different families that I had, it was interesting because they were pretty diverse, from the first were farmers. And it was really wild because I was only supposed to stay at the first family for like 3 months, but being able to go and deliver, tons of sheep and cattle and the rest of the stuff, it turned out I was there for 7 months out of that. But the other families, there's a lot of small businesses in this little town, and there was always something to do, like on the weekends and everything. Kids they had stuff planned. The scenery is beyond what you could imagine. Now their seasons are back to front of what ours are, on the other side of the equator and stuff. So during Christmas and stuff, just right after Christmas, they had like a 6-week bus trip where all the kids at school got a chance to go. It cost a nominal fee and stuff. And I got a chance to see Ayers Rock, basically different parts of the Snowy Mountains, Adelaide, which is in South Australia. The coral reef is something else, and there's always, like I say, something to do. But it was interesting how enterprising they were. And for a town of 2,000 to have an active Rotary and a lot of different things is fascinating in so many different aspects. And every one of those people wanted to take the Rotary Exchange student and show them something different on different weekends. So it was pretty cool that way. The different animals that you read about, you won't necessarily find in Sydney or Melbourne, but in the Snowy Mountains around Batlow, the snakes, spiders, some of the different things that they have, platypuses, which look like a duck with a beaver tail, and we had those actually on the ranch. The biggest product that we had pretty much on the ranch where I was at was apples, and they basically they had a mountain-made cannery and stuff where a lot of people worked there, and people that weren't into the forestry, this and the other. But if you ever get a chance to go to Australia, I would strongly suggest, it's not far from Canberra, which is their capital territory. If you want to see some really interesting scenery and stuff like that, and the people are they're real strong-willed. And the thing that I found is, you look at spending 12 or 13 months in a place like that, you learn to get along with their different customs and things like that. And once you do and you get along with the program, then towards the tail end of it, if it would have been for my relatives, I probably would have ran off into the woods and stayed there. But it helped me with a lot of different things. And I think that's probably the thing when you have Rotary Exchange students and have the opportunity to give them that opportunity to be like here and show them something different. It affected my life quite a bit when I got back. I ended up, actually when I got back, I ended up working at a place called Edwards Ford Garage, Jim Edwards Ford Garage. And
Slave labor.
well, Bernie Crum was really good on the tips and stuff when we prepped the cars real well and stuff. He was like a master salesman. And I always had taken like college prep classes and stuff like that, but I basically just wanted to work on cars or farm. And because after my father died, the guy that raised me was my grandfather on my mom's side, and we renovated houses and raised vegetables and cut timber and worked in that sort of thing. And that's pretty much what I do even in retirement. But what had happened was I took a friend named Phil Huffman over to pick up an application for the Timken Co-op Scholarship. And as a joke, maybe in just working on cars and stuff like that, he goes, "Kevin, why don't you fill out an application?" I said, yeah, we'll see how that goes. They had like 4 positions and 300 applicants. So you had to apply at Cincinnati, Georgia Tech, Virginia Polytech, take the ACTs, SETs, and go through a whole bunch of different stuff. So I just went through the program on that and went for the interview over on Duber at Product Engineering. And they were more interested in the car that I had outside than anything else. I had a 66 Mustang convertible. And the interview was supposed to take like a half an hour, and it was like an hour and a half or something. And then they walked out to see my car. And then I'm working at the Ford garage and stuff, and I get this call, and I didn't expect it. They said, "Kevin, you got accepted in the Timken Co-op Scholarship." I said, they said, "Can you start on Monday?" And I said, "No, I can't. I have to give my boss like a 2 or 3 week notice." And so I went and told Jim this 50 years ago or whatever, 48 years ago. He goes, "You understand what they're offering you?" And I said, "Well, I'm getting an idea of it." So I called him back and said, "He says it's okay. I could start on Monday." And out of the 4 applicants, I ended up working at Tipton Research till I was 30. And then I retired to basically work for myself, renovating houses, raising vegetables, and be in the timber business, which is, I got 71 acres in Carroll County. But I guess the whole point is everybody knows what a kangaroo looks like. They know what the different things, the whole 9 yards, but it's what actually it does for somebody when you guys sponsor a student to come here. It opened up things for me. Like, I was right next to one of the biggest forestries around, and I was around the animals, which I liked, and the people were good. And it's like, wow, I'm going, how did I end up here? Well, it was because of the Rotary, and it prepares, I think, any one of the students that you guys have that come in here when they go back to their country. I can only imagine the effect that it has on them in their day-to-day life. You got to learn how to get along with different people and different things because, like I say, the Australians can be pretty strong-willed, and you learn how to talk to the different Rotary clubs there too, which are very diversified depending on where you're at. In Sydney, it's like a cleaned up New York City or something, because I went to Sydney right towards the tail end when we had our 200-year anniversary. They had a fireworks display off the Sydney Harbor Bridge, and that was interesting to see. And I went to the Rotary meeting there, and I get there, that was with some of the relatives of my hosts and stuff. And the speaker didn't show up. And they said, "Kevin, can you talk? Can you give a presentation and stuff?" And I didn't have any slides or anything like that. I would have brought the slides and stuff that I had, but then I thought about it, but they got destroyed in a house fire where my kids and stuff made it through years ago. But here at the Sydney, I looked around at the crowd and I said, how are we going to keep them entertained? Because they're looking like, and they were interested in different stuff than what you would think about America. They probably knew more about our country, the comings and goings of all the different things that they hear on the news and stuff. They wanted to know about the Amish. They wanted to know about 24-hour grocery stores, and that was the kind of thing. And it was interesting because I thought, wow, this is going to be difficult. And then their questions and stuff on just your day-to-day life was just absolutely fascinating, But anyways, if nothing else, I say congratulations on the Louisville Rotary being here 100 years. And it's hard to believe that 50 years ago, I'm saying, where did the time go, I have 2 kids, 2 boys. One's 34 and one's 36. And it's interesting because things were so different back in 1975. Bill Gates was just thinking up Microsoft, and we didn't have cell phones or anything like that versus what it would be like today. You keep in touch with them for about the first 10 or 15 years, and then 20 years goes by, and then more of your friends are doing different things in different generation. And then like at 30 or 40, so I don't really have a lot of contact, but I'm interested in developing that again after 50 years, obviously, because it's like a couple of generations. But we all kept in contact for the first 20, 25 years, of it. But if anything else, I think the whole thing is the benefit of the exchange program, I think, it probably helps in a lot of, particularly today when we got troubling times with all the different things with different countries. It helps different people understand more about America. And I don't know, that was basically with my situation, because when you're over there, you got people with different interests. They have the same concerns and stuff like that. They're trying to make a living, and it's just a good place to see. Is there any questions at all on anything?
Any Aborigines?
The Aborigines basically are more out towards the center where Ayers Rock and stuff like that. I had a chance to climb Ayers Rock. I got a picture of me at 16 years old on the top of there, and Ayers Rock and everything. But the Aborigines are more towards the center than they are right in the Snowy Mountains. But any other questions?
Was there, what kind of animals did they raise on the ranch? Like cattle? Or
Yeah, we had cattle, we had sheep. They raised race horses, trotters, and stuff like that. And all my exposure with that, with my dad being a large animal veterinarian, I got a lot of opportunities to, to deal with that, and had to deliver a lot of different animals too as a result of that. As far as crops and stuff, apples were the big one that we had. It was a giant apple orchard. Out of his 1,350 acres, probably 600 was in apples, and the different ones, and all different kinds. It was known as like the apple capital of that part of Australia. Boysenberries were a big one. I remember, which are a different sort of berry. But the snakes and the spiders, you find out real quick, are a lot different than our snakes and spiders,
Tell us about that.
Okay.
How different were they?
There was one time I was out because basically almost everybody had like Suzuki dirt bikes and stuff, because you could get around the trails, get through the forestry. And when we weren't on horses, we were on that. One time I saw it looked like it got hit or stunned or something. It was a black snake, and I put it inside my coat, and I brought it back, and then everybody turned white at the dinner table. They go, "Did that thing bite you?" And I go, "No, it's a lot different than basically they're brown snakes and they're black snakes. They'll stand up and then they'll flip backwards, and then they have just down in the next town called Tumut, there's a snake called a tiger snake, which is one of the most poisonous in the world, and it has blue eyes, and it'll actually chase you and stuff. Yeah. And like the duck-billed platypus and stuff, you don't want to go and grab them if they're cute as a dickens, because they got different things in their back feet that they'll go and sting you, But the cars, a lot of the cars, particularly in the boonies, like Battle and stuff, had rubars in the front of them to protect, because you get they call them a mob when there's a whole group of kangaroos. And they come out, and then not just one, but a whole bunch, kind of like the deer do here, We had cockatoos on the farm, like the Beretta cockatoos and stuff on that show Beretta years ago. Just all kinds of unusual stuff, Any other questions at all?
Quick question, I can't imagine going through that at 17 or 18.
I was 16, 17.
16. Do you find yourself appreciating it more the older you get, the experience you had?
Yeah, really. And that's, I think it's, if I were to choose a place, there's tons of places even here in Ohio that are incredible to go to, but it's just hard until you actually get a chance to see it, and spend 13 months of your life there, it is an incredible, and so the exchange program is just really super what it does.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you to join Louisville Rotary.
I'd like to in the future.
What do you think about
Yes, most definitely. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't. You get busy with life and kids and the whole 9 yards. That's,
it? I'll be darned.
Yeah.
I'll be calling you, Kevin.
What Rotary Club sent you?
It was Louisville.
Louisville?
Yeah.
Oh.
There was Cy Jackson and John Neese. Basically, because Dave Neese was a friend of mine, and they grew up pretty much over off of Michigan. Well, it's Michigan Main Street, And he was a pharmacist, and Cy was my Boy Scout leader. And I was involved in the Boy Scouts too when I was over there. They had a troop in Batlow, and they had a Eastern Asia or whatever thing in Sydney where they had a jamboree, and that was interesting to go to as a Boy Scout. And you met Boy Scouts from Japan, from Thailand, from everywhere. And one of the biggest questions they asked me was whether I ever met Bob Dylan, which is, and I go, no, I didn't have the opportunity to do that,
Well, you could have told them some good stories of it.
Oh.
They would have believed every one of them.
Yeah. While I was there also, the thing that benefited me the most was to be able to go and talk to like different groups and everything, and being in speech in Louisville and debate and stuff. And it really made a big difference down the road. And it made a big difference actually at Timken too, with all the different, for your projects and stuff like that. But those were the kind of things that I learned basically as being an exchange student. So you come back and you're 17 years old and it's hard to explain to your friends and stuff, the stuff that you saw, and and all the different stories and just this, that, or the other. But, and I could go on and on about the different stories and the animals and everything. It's just like, wow. But anyways, thanks for inviting me on the 50th anniversary. Yeah.
To somebody who is going to visit Australia, what's the place that you would recommend that they see?
I would say to go to like Batlow and the Snowy Mountains. If you go to Sydney or Melbourne, you're going to see like a clean New York City or similar to, that's what I thought when I was in those places. But to go and take a little bit of the time, go and see the Great Barrier Reef. In Batlow, we were close to where you could go skiing within like about 3 hours, or you could be with about 6 or 7 hours, you could be at the Great Barrier Reef sort of thing, 8 hours, drive. I would go inland and go to a smaller town. And if you check Google Batlow in New South Wales, it'll give you a good indication. They, and their Rotary Club's still active and everything too.
Okay.
Yeah, you would see a lot more than you would see in a lot of the commercialized areas and stuff. Yeah. And if you wanted to go to see Ayers Rock or stuff like that and Alice Springs and stuff, that'd be interesting too. But that's like in the middle of the boonies.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
One of our members, new members, Mark Greco and his wife, are currently about 2 hours from Sydney. Their daughter lives in Australia, and they flew over. They left on Saturday from Pittsburgh. So if you're interested in any updates about Australia, I'm sure that Mark and his wife will be happy to bring some stories back from Australia as well. So that's kind of neat. We've got just a few minutes before 1 o'clock here. This is my last official Rotary meeting as president, so see ya. But no, seriously, I wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to be president over the last year or so. It's been fun, and between this and the amphitheater, it certainly has kept me busy. This past year's slogan, as we can see on the little placard here, is the magic of Rotary. When the international president, Stephanie Ulrich, sent me that email and said, "You guys are really typifying what the magic of Rotary means," that was kind of cool. That was a pretty nice compliment. A couple things I wanted just to go over briefly. Travis Kelly had told us a couple of months ago that he was leaving our group and probably going to go up to Akron because of his change in work schedule. They wanted him back to the office. Well, I got an email from Travis last night, and he's going to continue to be a Louisville Rotary member. Somehow his schedule got changed again, so Travis will continue to be a member and hopes to start attending some more meetings. Jim kind of stole some of my thunder. About a year ago, he came up to me and said, "Well, this is our 100-year anniversary, so we should have 50 members." And I looked at it, and we had about 38, 39, give or take. And I said to myself, really? But Gwen joining our group today. Welcome, Gwen. Thank you for being a member. She's number 49, and as I mentioned before, Rachel, the police chief, will be number 50. So, mission accomplished. Uh, I also want to say thank you to a lot of different people who have spent so much time and spend so much time working around Louisville, Nimishillen Township. First and foremost, the flag guys. Our flag program, without our flag program, it would be a burning crater for the most part because of all the money that the flag program takes in. And thank you to just about everybody in this room who's got a flag route, but the Jim Edwardses and the Glens and the Denny's, Mark Greco has jumped on the flag program and is working a whole bunch. Jim, thanks for your help this year. I couldn't do as much because I broke my finger and tore the tendons out and was told that I couldn't do anything for 8 weeks. And I don't listen very well, but I did not pound a steak because he told me that would really mess it up in a hurry. But there's also somebody else that does a lot for our flag program, and he's kind of one of the unsung heroes. Jerry Dunbar puts together those trays. There's, I don't know how many trays. What is there, 50 trays, something like that, Jerry? 57 trays. That's 57 flag routes. And Jerry puts all the information in the trays and makes sure we've got a yellow or white can of spray paint and what have you. And Jerry, thank you for all that you do. I appreciate that. You really do a lot. And Jerry's also the face of Rotary when you walk in the door all the time. And Jerry, we appreciate what you do. Thank you. Warm coats is something else that's kind of near and dear to my heart. We've got a lot of people that volunteer on that Friday afternoon, but Amy, who worked for the Y, who just retired, I believe, last Friday from the Y. Barb is another one who's really spearheaded that program. And all the volunteers, Joni and Mary and so on and so forth. And then there's also a number of people who donate a lot of money to that program. Last year, I think we provided coats for around 130 Louisville students. Coats, hats, gloves, so that no kid in Louisville did not have a winter coat. They could go to the Y even after we distributed the coats, and they could still get coats because they had them up there. And I think that's kind of exceptional of our club. Second Friday, Cynthia's not here. Cynthia, thank you wherever you are. Jim, booking all the bands. I've watched in the last year, I've sat down there, at the tent and kind of plugged the amphitheater and the flag program. But, what Jim does behind the scenes, booking all these bands, it's a lot of work. And Cynthia talks to all these vendors constantly. She's got phone call after phone call after phone call. And then that Friday, she's running all over the place. She's like the ever-ready bunny. And it's amazing. It's really amazing to me how hard they work, and she works, and Jim works. A couple other things, the exchange student program, Bill, Barb, the Atkins, and Dave Yeagley also were involved in it. But, these people treat these, and this year we had 3 exchange students. They treat those exchange students like they're their own kids, and maybe even better from what I saw. I mean, Uncle Bill's taking them out for ice cream every other week and taking them wherever they want to go. And, it's really incredible. But, it takes so much work and time to do that. And I just want to say how much I have come to appreciate all the work that you guys do. Constitution Day Parade. I won't forget Brock driving around in that golf cart that he has that looks like it's got everything on it except the ability to cook lunch. Refrigerator, you name it, just driving around. But seriously, putting all those stakes, signs out and coordinating everything for a parade, that's a lot of work, folks. And the volunteers that do that, thank you for everybody who does that. And then our banquet coming up here next Wednesday and our 100-year anniversary. Cynthia and several others worked on the brochures, and I know she was ready to wring my neck and Jim's neck because we kept saying, no, you got to get Stephanie Urchick's picture on there, and you got to do this and you got to do that. And she finally dropped them off a couple weeks ago and said, that's it, I'm done. But she did a great job, and it really looks nice. And then just two other things. One, this year we had our first ever pickleball tournament that we sponsored. We were sold out. We had 32 pickleball players at the YMCA. We could have had more. I could have got a lot more players if we'd have had the space. But, something like that sponsored by the Rotary for the YMCA, 3/4 of those people had never been to the Louisville YMCA. And, Amy came in, Randy, I can't believe all these people that are here. I said, yeah, well, that's kind of what we're trying to do. I'm going to go make up a brochure for everybody and give them a brochure about the YMCA. And she was just as happy as a little kid. And it was amazing because half the people that won the pickleball tournaments had never won a medal. We passed out gold medals, silver and bronze for 1, 2, and 3 places. And these people, they got these medals and they just acted like you gave them a big piece of gold or something. I mean, it was absolutely amazing. And finally, to our new members, thank you for becoming members of the Louisville Rotary. I would challenge all of you to find your place in Rotary, whether it's flag program or I don't care what it is, but get involved, do more. We want you to be here not just for 6 months or a year, but like you to be here, hey, as long as Jim Edwards. Jim Edwards has been here for 175 years. Just kidding. But seriously, welcome. If you have questions, if you want to know how things operate around here, that's one of the reasons I'm talking today, hopefully. But please be a part of the group, come to the meetings and do what you can. And then the other thing, I just wanted to say thanks to Scooter and his group for the grant work. This group gives out, I don't know, how much was the grants? 8,000 this year? 8,000 there, and then another 3,000 for three $1,000 grants. So roughly $11,000 in grants to help businesses and people in our community. And I think that's kind of special. Not too many places do that these days. All right, I've rambled on enough. Thank you. Shorty,
Yeah.
you got a 1 in 14 chance of winning a couple $100 here.
Let's go.
I'll take the off ice cream and win. Oh, nope.
You lose. Next time it's a 1 in 13 chance. All right, next week, dinner here. Be here, please, if you can. Following week, we are having no meetings because of July 4th weekend, and then from there it'll be the business meetings. Thank you very much. Done.